I think what happened when I was out in Rwanda was that the whole idea of people being in need became very, very personal. And instead of just being a theory that there was people who needed help, I began to see real people with real needs. You can't see that, you can't experience that, you can't meet these people and not do anything about it. So we set up what at that time was Comfort Rwanda, which was really to help the survivors of the genocide, and it was just a simple attempt. At that time there had been a failure of the rains, and many of the genocide survivors were particularly vulnerable because they had lost husbands, lost friends, lost everything really, and so they were some of the first people to get affected by the drought, and some of them were dying. And so we had said to people we'd met when we were out there we would do something about it. So we came back and decided to raise some money to send out to those people, and the best way to do that would be to set up a charity, and we called it Comfort Rwanda. But the genocide was desperately traumatic because of the brutality, the wide scale of the killing, the public nature of the killing, that children watching their families, their parents killed, sometimes desperate things where husbands were forced to kill their wives or their children, or the other way around. And the nature of the killing was shocking in its brutality, too shocking really for words. And so people were deeply traumatized, not just by the fact that they had lost family members, but by the way that the killing had been carried out. In terms of the projects that we're doing in Rwanda, we try to be partner-led. We work with Indigenous organisations there, and rather than us telling them what we think is best for them, we try and work with them in terms of what they see the needs are. And so we have a number of projects with the survivors, mainly in communities. We try and take people from the point of immediate crisis through to a place where they're then able to look after themselves, so that we break any kind of dependency cycle. So that can include things like farming projects, cropping, cash projects like growing and selling things like pineapples, sugarcane, things like that. We work with providing goats and cattle, building of homes for the survivors. Also sponsorship in terms of education, supporting people through school or through university. We've built a vocational training centre with our partners a few years ago, and that is now training up young people to go on into skills and jobs. Taking the kids off the streets, providing them with education is the big thing that they really need, but also things like medical support, clothing, and just general support, love and care. And then the children, most of the children are put back into families, relatives or other people in the church or something like that. We do have a home up at Batsinda, one of the projects, because some of the kids have no relatives at all that they can find, and so we look after the kids there. So these are the kind of projects that we've been involved with.
We're in a society, and in our time we have always been taught to just see ourselves and see what we can get, how far we can go in our career, and what a beautiful family I can have. And when are we going to stop looking just at ourselves and look at our neighbor or the person beside us? And I believe that's what stops people getting involved. It's because we have been taught, and it's not only people's faults, that's how the world works. So you need to work differently than the whole world works. You need to swim against the current of the river to say, I'm gonna help someone in Africa.
It's difficult sometimes to know why some people get involved in the work and some people don't. I think sometimes we get so carried away by our own churches, our own lives, And ultimately, I suppose there is a sacrifice, that life is comfortable. And the more we get, the more we spend on ourselves, and the less we think about other people. Often I think some people think, well, once I get past this, or once I have this, or once I get more money, then I'll help other people. But tomorrow never comes in that sense, because there's always something else that we can look after ourselves for. Let's take our eyes off ourselves and understand that the gospel is not just for me in my small corner, but it's for the world.